everyone, I'm Jasmine. I teach Chinese at Utah State University. My presentation today focuses on negotiating meaning, human tutoring, and AI feedback in Chinese writing revision. I want to start with the questions. If a computer can fix your grammar in 2 seconds, do you still need a human teacher? A year ago, I would have said AI is fast, but a real teacher is better. That answer bothered me because I had no evidence for it. So last fall, I built a course that would let my students answer it for me. So here is where we are going. First, I would like to explain why Chinese writing makes this harder than it looks and the gap in what we know. Second, and I will spend real time here about exactly how the assignments worked because the design is where the learning come from. Third, what the 19 students told me, and finally, 4 things you can take back to your classroom. So generative AI arrived faster than most of us planned for. Many of us worried that assigning writing now just invite students to outsource the very skill it was meant to build. So the first reaction is to just prohibit using AI. But I want to try to think it in another ways. I want to think since AI tools, language models, generating fluent essay is not a side effect of what they do. It's actually the entire thing they were built for. So when we set a writing assignment and tell students not to use AI, we are asking them to ignore a purpose-built free tool that is one tap away. So that isn't a rule you can enforce. And enforcement was never the interesting question anyway. So the question was our ties and whether students will use AI. It should be how we build an assignment where using AI actually teach students something. So the statement AI is convenient but teachers are better is not really an answer. It is a hope. And notice what it assumes, that the two compete for the same job. However, is that true? First, I want to show you why Chinese writing is hard for native English speakers. In English, if you can say a word, you can usually spell it. Chinese doesn't work that way. Characters are formed based on their meaning rather than their pronunciation. For example, here are 3 different Chinese characters, and all of their pronunciation are almost the same. However, with the different tones, they have entirely different meanings. So that's why students can choose a character that sounds exactly right, but be completely wrong. That isn't a spelling mistake, it's a meaning mistake. And the sentence still reads fine, but it just says something they never intended to. So AI can catch this obvious mistake very easily, where students pick wrong characters or just a character based on sounds. AI can easily catch and correct that. However, if you want AI to help you correct the whole sentence, or to judge if that's the accurate way to say something you mean to say, sometimes that's something human tutors may be more capable to help you. So here comes a structural gap between what AI can efficiently flag and what only a skilled human readers can interpret. That gap is exactly where I want to do research on this. AI-assisted writing evaluation has been studied a great deal, and so does the human tutoring. But they have been studied as separate concerns two literatures that rarely meet. What almost nobody has done is follow the same learners through both in one course across a whole semester, and then ask how students moved between these two different patterns. So my studies ask three questions. How do students perceive the strengths and the limits of each? And how do they actually use each in practice? And how do they make sense of the relationship between the two? So that was my Chinese 3010 course. That's a third year Chinese I taught last year. And 19 students enrolled in the class, a really mixed group, 14 with more than 6 years of Chinese learning, most from dual language programs, 4 with only 1 to 2 years. So I ran 2 writing tracks in parallel, same students, same topics. The only thing that changed was where the feedback came from. So the first track is 5 lesson essays, each going to a native speaker tutor in Taiwan. And the second track is 4 different film response essays, each revised with an AI tool. But the overview isn't where the learning happened, the mechanic art. So let me show you exactly what a student did. So here are the 2 different tracks. So they 5 steps at each side. So for the tutor track first, on the left. So step 1, the students write the essay around 210 to 240 characters using a list of 5 vocabulary words from that lessons, underlined so the tutor can see them at a glance. Step 2, they email the draft to the tutor in Taiwan by 11:59, the night before they meet the tutor. And that deadline is deliberate. It means the tutor arrives having read the essay, so none of the 15-minute window gets spent reading. And step 3, the live part, that's in one-on-one online meeting sessions. Students log in 5 minutes earlier, and the tutor share their screen with the students' essay open, and they work through it together to discuss the grammar, word choice, structures, and ask questions and answer. And step 4, the tutor return the draft marked in track change, so every edit seats are visible against the student's original wording. Step 5, the accountability piece. The students upload the document with all the revision with a note naming 2 new grammar points they learned from the tutoring sections. Missing the note, lose a point of the 3 of the assignment. Now, the AI track. Step 1 is the same commitment. Students write their own draft first. 3 paragraphs, minimum length of 100-150 characters. Step 2, only then use an AI tool to proofread their draft. Step 3 is the rule the whole track depends on. Students have to compare the AI suggestions against their original draft, and they have to compare word by word or phrase by phrase and keep change minima. Never replace a whole sentence, just correct some phrases or words if necessary. And step 4, every decision stays visible in track changes. Step 5, I grade the revisions, judgment, not the polish. And look at the line across the bottom. It's the same in both tracks. Submit without track changes. The essays will only get half credits no matter how good the writing is. And 2 things the diagram doesn't show. First, where the tutor came from. The tutoring was sponsored by the Taiwan Hanyu Best Program at the National Yat-sen University in Taiwan. So 5 experienced teachers from their Chinese language center each took a small group of students. So each tutor just tutor 4 students and keep the same students all semesters. By essay 4, the tutor knew the students' writings. That continuity was an accident, and neither was the preparations. So before the beginning of the semester, I met all 5 tutors online, explained my expectations, and provided the guidelines and the vocabulary list. Second, what the section felt like. So within the 15 minutes online meetings, each student was with someone who wanted to understand what they were trying to say, and who asked what they really tend to say before make a correction. And same for the AI track, 2 things behind the diagrams. First, the warning. So the assignment guideline directly said AI-generated revisions may twist your intended meaning, so you need to evaluate carefully and decide how to adopt the suggestions. I wanted students treating AI output as a proposal, not as an answer key. Second, as the grading rubric. So each assignment is 3 points. And the 3 points should including the original draft, the correction with track changes. So if they included all the necessary information, they can get the 3 points. But they may only get between 2.9 to 2.4 if revisions shows over relied on AI or no real comparison with the original. And 2.3 or below if they are missing the track change or overly depend AI or submit with the deliberated judgment of all the suggestions. So a polished essay could go badly if it's obviously generated by AI rather than just use AI suggestion to correct what you originally want to say. And a moderated one with a visible, well-judged edit could score well. So that envisions is the whole point. Okay. So that's the design and what came out of it. 2 kinds of evidence, a structured survey, all 19 complete, and a reflective essay in their own words. I analyze the reflection before looking at the survey, so I would not hunt for quotes that confirm the numbers I've already seen. Finding 1. Students clearly prefer the human tutor, and it wasn't even close. 16 of 19 rated the tutor above AI for learning gains. 9 had the strongest opinion. 17 favored the tutor for confidence. And look at the first pairs of bars. Not one student rated AI higher for learning. 0 out of 19 in a class where 14 had over 6 years of Chinese learning. But look at the third column, time efficiency. The performance flips completely. 15 of 19 said AI was more efficient. So students were not really rejecting AI. They were solving it. AI is better decisively on speed and lost decisively on learning, and they could tell the difference. But percentage don't tell you why. So for that, we have to analyze students' response to really look into their own words. So here are the students' response. So one student said, Having a person who able to talk me through and analyze my own writing style allowed me to internalize the things I was learning with more easy. Listen to that word, internalize. She's describing deep versus surface processing without any of our vocabulary for it. And another value that her tutor corrected her at her own level, not something a native speaker might say in this situation. Meanwhile, AI would occasionally use vocabulary super far out of my comfort zone. That may be grammatically perfect, but that's unusable for the students. Also students reflect. They feel like AI. They feel they can trust the tutor's assessment, and that can motivate them to learn harder. Finding two, where I had to change my mind. Send 3 questions asked about each resources side by side out of 19. So first pair, did you know exactly what to do next? 18 said yes after tutoring. After AI feedback, 11, 5 unsure, 3 who flat disagreed. Second pair, did you feel motivated to revise? 15 after tutoring, 11 after AI. But the third pair is the widest gap on the slide. 15 adopted 80 to 100% of their tutor's suggestion, while AI only 2 did, and 7 adopted less than 60%. So my first reaction was that this made AI look bad. But the gap isn't only a measure of trust, it's a measure of care for examinations. Every AI suggestion had to earn its place. So here's the quote that changed my mind about the whole studies. One student said, the trustworthiness of the AI corrections forced me to work my brain harder to evaluate the validated of those corrections. The question she kept asking was, do I really need to rewrite the sentence, or should I trust my initial judgment? That's exactly the thinking we want. And she got there because the AI was unreliable, and the AI's imperfection become a teaching tool, but only for students who engaged. Another student was honest with me and said, I did not learn one new vocabulary words or sentence structure from using AI. So that's the pattern on the right. The same AI, the same assignment produced an evaluator and an acceptor. So one argued with every suggestions and kept the reasoning. The other clicked the accept and kept nothing. So the variable that matters was actually never the tool. It was the stance the students brought and whether the assignment forced them to take one. So that's bring our fighting 3. And this is the one I would most want you to remember. So I expect students to pick a winners. Instead, almost non-friend it as competitors. So what they describe is what you see across the top, a division of labors. AI is always available, fast, and private. Nobody watching you get it wrong, which for an anxious language learner is not a small thing. The tutor covered what AI couldn't reach, meaning and intention, and culturally authority. whether it sounds like something a person would actually write, and confidence, which came from the relationship, not the corrections. The number underneath says the same. 13 still prefer the tutor overall, but that wasn't rejections. 8 students plan to keep using both. One described her workflow as AI first, then the tutor. Stronger essays last time. And nobody told them these patterns. They built it themselves out of a semester of hitting the limit of each one. So what do we do with this? So 4 ideas. 1. Give AI and human feedback different job on purpose. So using AI for quick, easy drafts. Save human time for the assignments where meaning and culture carry the learning. 2. Make students show their work. Require track change so whenever they use AI. If you can't see what changed and why, you cannot tell whether a student learned something or just accept suggestions. So this single requirement did more work in my course than any other choice I made. 3. Ask for a takeaway, not just a fix. So my students submit 2 grammar principles after every tutoring sections in their own word, not copied from the corrections. It forced them to turn one correction into a rule they can reuse. 4. Teach AI literacy before the first AI assisted assignment, not after it goes wrong. The students who use the AI best understand its limit in advance. Show them concerningly. Show them some example like here is AI distorting a writer's meaning. Here is vocabulary 3 levels above yours. Here's something grammatically right but culturally off. So once students watch AI fails on something, they can verify. They stop treating it as an authority. That skepticism isn't a problem to manager. It's the beginning of the learning. So back to my opening questions. If a computer can fix your grammar in 2 seconds, do you still need human teachers? Well, actually, I think that's not the right questions. The real question should be, what is each actually good at? AI is good at fast, private, low pressure practice. Human teachers are good at understanding intention, at asking students, what did you mean to say? What do you really mean to say? And at building the trust that makes students brave enough to keep trying. So we were never going to keep a language model out of a writing class, but that was the wrong goal. The question is not whether to use AI or not. It should be how we build the human infrastructures around it, so that using it actually teaches students something. Okay, thank you so much for listening. Here's my email, and I love to hear your feedback. Thank you.